Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. Wow, it seemed to just come here. I blinked, and here we are at Thursday. And it's a good one. I mean, look how beautiful it is out there.
Yeah, gorgeous day. Hot in the sun. Like our bodies
Mm.
aren't used to that deep heat. It feels really good. I spent a few minutes out there before our time together today, and it felt real warm.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I came from warmth from last week, so that was
How
really
was it?
Oh my goodness.
Was it
Perfect.
beautiful?
Oh my goodness. Just
Good.
perfect weather. I just couldn't ask for anything better. So, very relaxing. Just
I
what
can't
the
wait to
doctor
hear more
ordered.
about what you've learned. We'll have to chat offline and
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of those takeaways you got.
Yes. The biggest takeaway? Oh, can I tell you something super funny?
Yes.
I mean, at least I think it's funny. At least I think it's funny. Okay. So, I try to be very similar as far as my care of my body and nutrition. While I'm on vacation, it's the same. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
change for me necessarily. I may plan a few other treats. Okay.
Right.
So I did have a planned treat, and it's to get the best cinnamon roll on the island,
Uh-huh.
And so, you got to get up early and stand in line. This place opens at 7, but people are standing in line at 6 o'clock. And if you wait until 7, the line is already 150 people deep. I know. It's that good. It's that good.
Whoa.
So anyway, I dropped Kenny off to stand in line at like 6:15, and it's already several people deep. And then I go park the car, and I'm walking. I'm doing a little exercise, and before and then I join him in line, and then all of a sudden I hear, "Julie, is that you?" And I turn around.
Caught. You've been caught.
And he says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Wait till I tell, because he's somebody I know from my clinic.
That is so funny.
It is so funny. And we have a great laugh about it. And of course, I said, I'm doing the same thing as you are. I'm having my planned treat.
Yeah. 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 I often think about that when I'm in town doing things. I'm like, like I'm shopping. I'm like, if somebody stops me right now, what's in my cart? Is someone going to question what's in my cart? Or, and not that we have to, make an excuse or come, but we're trying to walk the walk and talk the talk, but we're also human, and we do also have planned treats and sometimes non-planned treats, like we're walking our own health journeys too. But it is a little bit like, is someone going to see me if I do this?
That is so funny, because that has happened to me before. And, you can kind of see the person they're talking to you, but you can see their eyes kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Look over the car. That is so funny. And so, I've taken care of that problem. I just shop, 50 miles away.
Go out of town. Out of town.
And it can happen to me again.
That is really funny.
It's funny. Yes. Yes, we're not perfect, right? But
we don't want to be either.
No, no, I'm not trying to be. And this is a planned treat, and it was funny. It was a good laugh, and of course, yes, it was delicious. There's no guilt or shame. It was just delicious. Yum. Okay, it was the best. I just got to say.
Okay, good to know. So now we know where to go.
Yeah, just ask
the islands. Me. Yeah, I will ask you.
I'll be there again the next time I go too.
Yeah.
Just saying it out loud, just for everybody to know.
Absolutely.
If I run into you there, it's a thing for me.
It's the planned treat.
Yeah.
Well, good. Okay, so I hope everybody listening feels normalized, and that it's it's part of life. It's part of the fun and the joy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Rachel, getting back to, last week you mentioned that you had some questions. Yeah.
We weren't here last week, and I will tell you.
Oh, right.
Sometimes when we're not here, I get messages hey, where are you guys? What's going on? Did I miss it? Where's the recording? Which is so exciting because people are following, they're listening,
Yeah.
they're keeping up. They're trying to make sure they're not missing episodes, which I just love. So shout out to
Mhm.
you. You know who you are, who sent me that message. I loved it. And also, this same person has sent in most, if not all, of our questions, knowing
Mhm.
that the Q&A has come up. But the great thing about the questions she's asking is that I've heard them before from lots
Mhm.
of different of your patients and my clients. It's a regular occurring couple of
Mhm.
different themes. And so the first question that came in, and we wanted to do a Q&A, and we'll do this again if it becomes popular and if more people keep sending questions in, we'll do more Q&A episodes in the future, maybe a couple times a year or every quarter or something. So the first question was about, it's kind of a funny little question, but we hear these wives' tales or how we were raised, but
Mhm.
about being sick, having a cold, and is it just me or am I more hungry? And should we starve a cold, feed a no, feed a cold, starve a feed? What is it? What should we really
Right.
do? So, what would be your take on that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is listen to your body, you know. Yeah. So I think, the question specifically is, I mean, it might be this person finds himself or herself hungrier when they have a cold.
Hmm.
And my question is, the first thing I'm thinking about are you hungry? Is it physical hunger that you're feeling, or are you feeling the need to comfort yourself?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and the way you've comforted yourself has tended to be with food,
Hmm.
because you feel bad. I mean, and so you want to feel better. And so, you're miserable. And, is it something like when you had a cold when you were a kid, and
Hmm.
how did your mom and, your mom or your grandma, how did they comfort you? So is it a learned thing? Is
Hmm.
a question that I have. Because I think it's probably very individual as far as, I have zero appetite when I have a cold. Yeah, zero appetite. However, and zero energy. And
Hmm.
so, or less energy, let's say. So less energy, and then I'm less motivated to do my food prep.
Yeah.
And then I'm more likely to just, if I'm hungry, grab the more convenient food, which probably is a little bit more processed.
Hmm.
In the past, for sure, ultra processed, and eating ultra processed food drives hunger.
Hmm.
That's physiologic. There's physiology there. So I would say, this is a very nuanced
It is.
answer.
It is. It's a tricky question.
It was a tricky question.
Hmm.
That's right. I said there may be some physiologic reasons for an increased hunger
Hmm.
when you're sick with a cold, and it might be because of learned,
Hmm.
things. It could be your own physiology because of the kinds of food you're putting in. Does that make
Yeah,
sense to you,
it
Rachel?
does. It
Hmm.
absolutely does. And I think, bottom line, our normal guidance with anybody we're talking to
Hmm.
about anything is listen to your body,
Yeah.
and listen for, is this physical hunger or
Hmm.
emotional hunger?
Hmm.
Is this the physical hunger I'm familiar with, that's a hunger pang, and oh, how long has it been since I've eaten? Yeah, it's probably reasonable that I'm feeling
Hmm.
hungry. Or
Hmm.
is this a comfort thing?
Hmm.
I think it could be really helpful for each person. I mean, this is a recommendation I have for my clients. I do this for myself. I've started to recently, in the last year or so, especially coming into perimenopause, really tracking my hormonal cycles, my circadian rhythm cycles, my eating cycles. And what I've really noticed is there is a pattern. I am a very trackable human being. When
Yeah.
I put it on paper and I recognize, and so when I find myself, sometimes I have those days where I feel like I could eat the world. That's how I could eat the whole world, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
blah,
love it.
you know. And what I've noticed is it's about 1 or 2 days out of the month, and I can track it with my menstrual cycle. So
Yeah.
now I have knowledge and data for it, right? And
Hmm.
it's and then I can decide what to do with that. But I'm
Hmm.
coming in mindful and aware.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think if every time someone has a cold, they're always more hungry,
Mhm.
asking some questions,
Mhm.
documenting,
Right.
tracking,
Yeah. That's
and asking the questions. Yeah,
yeah.
getting
There you
curious.
go. That's right. And well, the other thing I was thinking of too,
Mhm.
regarding this cold fever, I mean, we always probably need more fluids, you know,
Mhm.
when we have a cold or a fever because we're blowing a bunch of stuff out, or we have a fever and we're, you know, giving off more fluid just by having that fever. We're
Yeah.
releasing more. Yeah. So we're always needing more fluid. And
Mhm.
then our bodies might be craving things like vitamin C,
Mhm.
salt, you know, because we're sweating with this fever. And so, and so maybe we're hungry for specific things, but
Mhm.
we always want to answer that with whole and real. Now, I am going
Mhm.
to give this a caveat too. So, you know, these are usually viral illnesses, and we think of them affecting, you know, up in here, but sometimes they affect the gut too.
Mhm.
And when they affect the gut, where we want to eat things that are easily digestible rather than things that are super hard to digest, because probably you don't want to chomp on broccoli, you
Mhm.
know, because that, so a soup that has vegetables in it that are already a little bit broken down
Yeah,
is
cooked
going to be,
down.
yeah, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, and so we may be able to go a little more processed,
Mhm.
but not ultra processed.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Which leads really well into some of our other questions
Mhm,
about
mhm,
processed and ultra processed food. So we'll kind of segue into that, but it sounds like, listen to your body, or emotional, or
mhm,
where's this hunger coming from? If I'm going to eat something, what am I going to choose? Right? And if the question is, well, I'm hungry because there's Twinkies over there, that gives you your answer. If it's, I really need a bowl of vegetable soup, or maybe I'm just thirsty, I'm dehydrated. So asking some questions and kind of trying to answer
mhm,
it,
mhm,
first with whole and real and liquid fluids.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
yeah, and see where that gets you. But so segueing into processed food, we have a
mhm,
question about, um, you know, are protein powders
mhm,
healthy? Are
mhm,
they a reasonable source of protein? Are they processed? Are they ultra
mhm,
processed? And it
mhm,
could be whey protein powder, it can be pea protein powder, it could be soy
mhm,
protein powder.
mhm,
There's flaxseed powders. There's a
mhm.
lot of different versions of
Right.
protein powders, and then
Yeah.
they're made into a protein powder supplement or a smoothie meal replacement
Mhm.
supplement, or they're made into protein bars, right? So
Right.
it goes
Yeah, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
broad. So
Mhm.
what are your top thoughts on that?
Right. Yeah. And I guess my first thought is a question. And so, you know, and so why are you, what's the reason for the protein powder? I
Mhm.
guess. What's the reason for it? And is it a matter of, you know, that's the way I like to get protein? Is it that I don't have time to do other kind, you know, I don't have time and this is a quick, convenient way for me to get
Mhm.
some protein? Are you using it? Are you thinking you need it to build muscle? Are you using it to lose weight? I mean, so I'm answering
Yeah.
a question with more questions.
Which is kind of how it goes, isn't it? Which is the beauty of this. This is called lifestyle. It's not a diet mentality, because the diet
Right.
mentality would say there's one answer,
Right.
do this,
Yeah.
that's it.
Right,
And that's
right.
just really not it,
Mhm,
it all is so
mhm,
nuanced.
mhm. Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think part of that, there was some subparts to that question is like, how much protein can you really absorb at one time? And um, and I think your body is a very efficient system. So whatever you put in there, it's going to use. And as far as muscle protein synthesis, my understanding of the literature and the research is that you need 30 grams of protein to turn on the switch for muscle protein synthesis. And that's because in that 30, when you think of protein, it's there's an array of amino acids in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are essential amino acids that your body needs. You can't make on its own. You have to bring it in. And we bring it in by eating protein, and it's animal protein or plant protein. Mm-hmm. And plant protein like soy has all the essential nutrients in it, mm-hmm. all the essential amino acids, I should say. Thank you. Yeah, all the essential amino acids. It's just that it happens because the protein from animal comes from muscle, yeah, and that is similar muscle than the muscle in our bodies, and so it's going to have the ratios of the amino acids in the way that informs my body and my muscle protein synthesis. So it's going to have the leucine in the ratio that my body needs to turn on. Now, that's not to say you can't build muscle with plant protein. Okay? I'm not saying that at all. And it might be, and I haven't looked at each, individual. I'm just saying there's so much out there. You have to know what the ingredient list is.
Yeah.
How much leucine they put in there, did they put a little more to get extra, to get the right ratio, Yeah. And then what else is in there? That's my other question. What else? What else is in there?
Yeah. Right. So what I'm hearing you say is that our bodies are efficient, and that if we're giving it 30 grams of protein, it's going to use, keeping in mind that if we're giving it 30 grams of protein, it's coming in some sort of form of food. So, so it's either it's coming from some food we ate. Now, all food that we eat has calories and macro and micronutrients and other things. So your body's going to use it, and it's either going to break it down and save it for later if it doesn't need it. Or it's going to use it right now because it needs it. And from what I understand about like muscle protein synthesis is we've got to be asking a demand. You can eat all the protein you want, but if you don't lift the weights and do the exercise, you're not going to build muscle. So are you just trying to eat enough so that you don't lose lean muscle mass and, just stay healthy? Or are you trying to build muscle, right? Are you trying to bulk up? Are you trying to get some guns? That's a different thing. Yeah. But you have to be putting the demand on the muscles to grow the muscles. They don't just grow. Yeah.
No. Yeah. You have to use it, and you have to have the building blocks.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and especially,
go ahead.
Sorry. Especially after 40, for women specifically, because it's earlier in for both men and women, it's the muscle building is really a estrogen and testosterone also informed. Okay. And so, and that wanes, in both men and women, testosterone, estrogen wanes naturally. Okay. And so that bringing in the amino acids and then utilizing the muscle stimulates the growth more than the hormones at this point.
Yeah. So really important to be focusing on that as we get older. There's as we're uncovering this, I'm realizing this is a much bigger conversation. And maybe it's something we can, take one piece of the topic and kind of dive more into. Specifically, I think the next question, which was, we wanted to kind of dive in deeper about processed foods and ultra processed. Like, what does this mean? So what do you think about saving this for next time, and we can use it as
I like it. That's really good. That's really important. Yeah. It's important enough to spend more time on it. Yeah.
I think so, because it's not just a question of, if you're eating or drinking protein powders or protein supplements or bars, but a bigger question of when you are shopping, what's considered processed, what's considered ultra processed, what are, there's all these different categories they have now, and what does that mean? And how do I choose food based on that? And when is processed okay?
Right.
So it brings
Yeah.
up some really good questions, and I think people get really overwhelmed and confused. So
Mhm.
that, yeah, this might be a really great topic that we can approach next week.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay,
Good, good, good.
very good,
Yeah.
very good.
All right. Well, that brings us to what's for dinner for you, Rachel?
Yeah, I just made it, and so I made it early, which is great, and I'll probably actually eat it for a big later lunch around 2
Mhm.
today, and then probably do some early fasting. But it's a vegetable barley soup, and it
Mm.
is beautiful. It's got beans and spinach and barley, carrots, garlic, celery, sweet potatoes with my homemade veggie broth. It looks beautiful. It's very colorful, so I'm super happy about that.
Mm. Sounds
Yeah.
delicious.
How
Yeah.
about for you? What's for dinner?
Mhm. Well, I emptied out my my vegetable bowl or my base salad, so I got to go back to and make another base salad,
Uh-huh.
and then I do have some. We made some meatloaf, and when we make meatloaf, it's not just the grass fed hamburger. We put mushrooms and onion
Ooh.
and carrots and zucchini and tomatoes, and so it's more like a casserole in a
Yeah,
yeah,
love that.
yeah. So
Mhm,
it's really,
mhm.
and then all kinds of seasoning. So it's
You
delicious.
know, what you just described there, I love, and this is what we would call, like, I call it a healthy upgrade or an
Hmm.
add-in. And
Hmm.
every meal, every time I eat or cook, I think to myself, how can I boost it? What can
Hmm.
I add in or boost so that it's
Hmm.
inherently richer, more nutritious, more dense, right? And so you can eat a meatloaf that's just beef, and I
Yeah,
don't even know what else you make. It's just
yeah,
a loaf of meat, and
right.
hopefully you're eating that with a full plate of greens and
Yes,
veggies,
yes,
and right.
yeah.
Or you can put it all in there, and you have this nutritionally packed
Hmm.
thing, and a side salad,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like,
right.
that's just, I mean, it's boosting this thing
Hmm.
that can already be healthy, but then bringing it to a whole nother level.
That's right.
And I love that
Mhm.
mindset. Yeah,
Mhm. Very good. All right.
that's great.
I tell you what,
Yum.
I'm not standing in any kind of cinnamon roll line.
Sad face. Are you?
Yeah, that's a once a year
Well,
thing.
you've got
No,
me craving cinnamon roll now, so
yeah,
I
that's
gotta
good.
I gotta
So,
get that out of my brain.
yeah, well, I'll have to tell you about my healthy ice cream upgrade. That it's just so.
Mm,
Oh, I think we've talked about it before. It's the made from the coconut
mhm.
milk. Yeah, so good.
Yum.
I'm gonna.
So good.
I'll be. Yeah, I'd be
All
making
right, we
that too.
digress.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody. Take care.